Yahuwah be praised.
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 BSHEM YAHOSHUA.
BSHEM YAHOSHUA.
BSHEM YAHOSHUA.
BSHEM YAHOSHUA.
For we are the head
For we are the head
and not the tail.
and not the tail.
We are above only
We are above only
and not beneath.
and not beneath.
Yahuwah be praised.
Yahuwah be praised.
Yahuwah be praised.
Yahuwah be praised.
BSHEM YAHOSHUA.
BSHEM
We
YAHOSHUA.
are blessed in the city.
We are blessed in the city.
We are blessed in the field.
We are blessed in the
We
field.
blessed when we come.
We are blessed when we come.
We blessed when we go.
We are blessed when we go.
Yahuwah be praised.
Yahuwah be praised.
Yahuwah be praised.
Yahuwah be praised.
BSHEM YAHOSHUA.
BSHEM
Give him a
YAHOSHUA.
praise.
Hallelujah.
Praise his name. Shalom. Shalom to everyone that is present here today, to the congregation, and to those of you that are joining us on the Facebook or whatever social media that we are using. May the Master YAHOSHUA be with you today, and I pray that the Master will open up your spirit and your ears, and so you can truly understand what is happening today. Praise Yah. Baruch Hashem. Today, my friends, I have a word for you. I have a word for the world. I have a message to everyone. So, all praises unto the Master. The subject that we are going to talk about today, and the subject matter that we're going to talk about today, is one that so many people have scorned and put their noses up against. There are a lot of people that don't want to hear this word. It convicts them, so they don't like hearing it. For a long time, I have not been teaching on this subject. I may have mentioned it here and there, but I have not taught on it for a very long time, and it's a message that I think a lot of preachers want to teach on, but sometimes afraid to teach on it because of the fact that it's been abused, and it also accuses the messenger of trying to manipulate the people. So I've been hearing that a lot, and as the Master been challenging me, I bring forth this message from him to you. We will settle the dust once and for all with this message, and we will put this under the blood. I want you to turn with me to, let us go to the book of Hebrews, and let's go to chapter 7. Now, those of you that have joined us, you may want to get a couple of friends on with you, or when you finish this message, you may want to post it to them. If you could get them with you, if you get tag a few friends and tell them, say, now you need to hear this. This is going to change your life. You need to really hear this. This is going to change your life. So take a moment and do that. I'm going to give you a minute here. Also going to ask you to get a notepad, pen and pencil, and keep this information very handy. Praise Yah.
Hallelujah.
All right. As I said again, it's one of the message that the reason why that preachers are scared to talk about it. Very few preachers have really challenged this message, because of the charges that come up against them, that the enemy, Satan, the fight, the army of the kingdom of darkness has come up against the children of Yah concerning this word. I'm here about to change the course of your thinking today and help you to get someplace to understand. In verse 7, in verse 1 in chapter 7, check this out. For this Melchizedek, sovereign of Salem, priest of the Most High, Elohim, whom Abraham met, returning from the slaughter of the sovereigns, and blessed him, to whom also Abraham gave a tenth part of all, his name being translated indeed first, sovereign of righteousness, and then also sovereign of Salem. That is, sovereign of peace. In this chapter here, and in this verse, pay careful attention, because this here is going to defend the word, and it's going to really bring a bit of clarification to those of you who had been stressed every time you hear this particular subject come up and message. Now, what I'm about to say to you is that when you're dealing with the issue of what people like to call, or what they understand as a tenth of which we call tithe in the scriptures, and we have brought it to, the scriptures have brought it to the world. The devil have set up his kingdom to attack the financial the financial base of the kingdom. And if he attacked the financial base of the kingdom, then how is the kingdom of Yah is going to be established to effectively move throughout the world, to have a solid base, if it's not funded properly, or if it's not being used rightly? So you would hear the argument that tithing is grain, and tithing is this, and tithing is that, and it should not be, and there is no priest, and it's a whole bunch of mess and argument. So preachers don't like to touch on it, because people accuse them of manipulating the people. Now, I also want to share with you this. So listen to this very carefully. First verse, it says, for this Melchizedek, sovereign of Salem, priest of the Most High, Elohim, whom Abraham met, returning from the slaughter of the sovereigns, and blessed him. Now, why would Abraham bless the king or the priest? What is his objective for doing such, that he is going to bless someone that is in an authoritative figure, someone that is in power already, someone that represents something bigger than just a few people? It has to do with governing power. Governing power, that this king is governing a whole nation. And not only that he's governing a nation as a king, he's also a spiritual figure. Because remember, he is representing whom? He is the high priest. The high priest, that means of all other priests, of all the priests that comes or will be, he is the highest of all priests. That's why he's called the high priest. High priest and king. Check this out. Some of you are going to love this. It's going to help you in a few minutes, is that you're going to get this. Verse 2 said, to whom Abraham gave a tenth part of all. His name is translated, indeed first, sovereign of righteousness. So his name represents righteousness.
Yes, sir.
He represents kingdom authority. And he also represents spiritual priestly authority. And you have Abraham, who is someone that just came out from war, fighting a war, taking over kingdoms, and met this man on his way back. Now, let us examine this chapter very carefully, and we will establish some things. Verse 3 said, he says, without father, without mother, without genealogy.
You didn't finish 2.
We didn't finish 2? Okay, let's go back. Apologize for that. Let's go back in verse 2. To whom also Abraham gave a tenth part of all, his name being translated, indeed first, sovereign of righteousness, and then also sovereign of sin. That is sovereign of peace. So he represents not only, look at that. He is representing what? How many different aspects he's representing here?
Righteousness.
He is representing first being Melchizedek, a king. So he's representing the highest authority of figure ever. Kingdom business. He is the king. And then he's standing as a righteous man representing priesthood. The highest office of righteousness. The office of high priest. And he's also representing, his name also translates righteousness. So he is not just that he's being a priest, and not just that he's being a king, but he's a righteous priest. And he's a righteous king. So he's covering all bases. I want you to check this out. He's covering all aspects here. And then he's also covering shalom, peace. Abraham just came from war. Abraham, in that manner, has just represented himself or placed himself in a situation where he's a righteous man and he is a man of faith, but he just came from war. And he's meeting with the king. He is meeting with the high priest. He is meeting with a righteous man, and he's meeting with the king of peace. Wow. Who has no mother and no father. What representation is he representing? What is his figure here of authority? Who is he representing? Because he's representing something. So let us look here in verse 3. Let's finish that. It said, without father, without mother, without genealogy, you can't trace him back. There is no way to trace back his lineage. Having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but having been made like the son of Elohim. Remain a priest for all times. So he is representing the son of Elohim, meaning he's representing the Messiah. He is representing the all-time creator. Wow. And he's covering all aspects. Pay attention here. Now look at verse 4. Now see how great this one was, to whom even the ancestor Abraham gave a tenth of his choice bounty. And truly, those who are of the sons of Levi, who receive the priesthood, have a command to receive tithes from the people, according to the Torah, that is from their brothers, though they have come from the loins of Abraham. So let's look at this. And I want you to get on board with me, brothers and sisters. I want you to understand. This was not a command for just all nations. This was a command for his people, his brothers, it says. Those, the Levites, those who came from the loins of Abraham. Now, let me bring you to a frame of mind. There is no priesthood yet. The priesthood, as far as what we call the Leviticus priesthood, there is no priesthood besides Melchizedek right there. That is representing all the high priests that is established. Now, where are you going with this, pastor, prophet? Let me show you something. This priesthood is representing something bigger than you have ever seen. So I asked the question, and I asked the master, and I began to search, and I like to dig, and I like to ask questions. So before I get into all of the questions, let me go here. A tenth. Why a tenth? Why not 12%? 12 tribe of Israel? Why not? The tenth. Why not why not the 15% or 25%?
Come on, break it down.
Why not? Why not 7%? But I'm here to tell you something. The children of Israel is in the loins of Abraham. He's establishing a principle for a future generation.
Yes, sir.
Generation not yet here, but it's established in covenant.
Yes, sir.
So when you are tithing, you are not just tithing for you.
That's right.
You are tithing for a future generation.
Yes, sir.
You are tithing for the direction of your grandchildren.
Yes, sir.
You are tithing in the direction of your children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. You are laying up an inheritance for them. The tithe is not just about you. So when you have the feeling that the enemy is going to attack, and that's how the enemy does, he will attack the financial realm. The reason why he attacks the financial realm is because he's about to stop the birth of a generation.
Yes, sir.
He's about to stop the investment that you are making for future generations.
Yes,
so he's about to affect the kingdom. Now, how he's going to do it? Because remember, finances, money, as you deal with, is a spirit.
Yes, sir.
And it has a mind, and it has a direction. So let me put that into, hear what people say. They say that money goes where money is, and money answers all things. Now, we're talking about a tenth. That number, that 10. And Abraham had the children of Israel in his loins. So I get to thinking, now asking the question, why 10? And the master brought me and gave me a clear vision. He said, because 2 has been counted for. 2 of the 12 of the tribe of Israel has already been counted for.
Yes,
10 will be lost.
Yes, sir.
So Abraham had to cover 10 of the generation that is coming from the 12th tribe of Israel. You ain't hearing me, people. Abraham had to cover 10 of the tribe of Israel that would have been lost. The 10 tribe that he's covering, he is now putting an investment for the 10 tribe of Israel, because he knows that the enemy is going to attack. He knows that the enemy was going to come up against them, and they need some financial backing. They need some covering. They need some protection. They need to have somebody standing in the gap for them. So now Abraham went ahead of the devil,
yes, sir,
and lay a foundation for the 10 tribe of Israel. Wow. The 10 tribes that is in his loins. The 10 tribes that is going to come after. The number 10 is a powerful number. That's why I say hold on to the 10, because you understand where you was going. 10 tribe of Israel. You have children. We know what Abraham done. And we know that Abraham had gave his tent to Melchizedek. And we know the mindset of Abraham. What was his mindset? Well, I'm doing this for future generation. Right. Who are you doing it for?
Right.
Are you selfish and you just doing this for you? Or you're doing it for your grandchildren? Or you're doing it for your children's children? Who are you leaving a legacy for? Or you don't care about leaving a legacy for them? Or you don't care what the devil does with them? Well, let me put you some of the other nations. Some of the other nations, they're already laying up foundation for their grandchildren that is not even here. For their great-grandchildren that is not even here. They are living empires for their children. But you that are Hebrew Israelites say that you don't want to pay tithes and offering because you are selfish. You just want to do for you, but you are not thinking about your children. Now, when you grumble against paying tithes and offering, your finances is grumbling against you. So guess what? When you think you're doing somebody injustice, you're doing your grandchildren injustice. When you think you're harming somebody, you're harming your great-grand. Because every time you grumble, that money is saying, I'm not going to those children because their grandfather don't want to pay for them. I'm not going to those children because their grandmother don't want to pay for them. I'm not going to the children because this is a heavenly principle. Yep. This is not just a physical principle. So not only, hear me, that your children is going to be affected financially, but they will be affected spiritually. Because who does Melchizedek represent? He represents righteousness. Yes, so the enemy is coming in to infiltrate the righteousness of your children. The enemy is coming to infiltrate the shalom of your children. That's why they're in war. That's why they're in argument. Because Abraham came out from war. Abraham came out from violence. But he met with the king and the prince of peace. He met with all righteousness. Abraham needed peace.
Yes, sir.
In his loins because he came out from war. So he needed to settle himself with peace. What are you settling yourself with? Are you settling yourself with peace? Are you settling yourself with righteousness? Are you putting in your loins for your righteous children that's supposed to come? Are you tagging them with unrighteousness by your unrighteous behavior?
Come on, man. Break that down.
Are you tagging your great-grandchildren before they even come here? You are tagging them with rebellion.
Come on.
Are you tagging them to refute the word of Yah?
Come on.
Well, the reason why the devil is fighting against the kingdom of Yah, because he is investing in his kingdom.
That's right.
He is investing in unrighteousness. And the reason why you see the hip-hop or this, that, and the other, and you see the violence that come in with all this other gangster lifestyle, but there is a lot of money. The devil is funding his kingdom.
Yes, sir.
But in his kingdom, there will be sexual misconduct. There will be homosexual misconduct. There will be all unrighteousness misconduct. Because he is funding the misconduct. But you are not even funding the righteousness of the kingdom. But you call yourself priests. You call yourself a royal priesthood. But the royal priesthood is not doing the royal thing. Okay.
Yes, sir. Keep going.
Hold on. Let me bring this out to you. In the scriptures, listen to this. The number 10 is used 242 times, and 79 of those times was for designation. For people to do something, go somewhere, direction, destination. It was sometimes they was going somewhere. The number 10 is also in Genesis 1. The number 10 is used 10 times for creative power. Listen to this. Then we also have the extraction of the 10 commands that came from all of the commands that was given by Moshe.
Yes, sir.
Then let me tell you something else. It also is the supreme number here because 10 also represent, listen, hear me, you got to listen to this. The number 10 also represent the securing of the lamb on the 10th day. The preparation of the lamb, the Passover lamb, the representation of Messiah who is coming not after the order of Aaron the priest, but coming after the order of Melchizedek, the high priest, that is coming not representing flesh, but is coming to represent heaven. In order for you to touch heaven, you must tithe in order for you to have a connection, because your connection here is not paying Tico. When you pay Tico, you have a connection with your electrical lights. When you pay your car payment, you have a connection with your driving ability. When you pay your house rent, you have a connection of your house on the earth. But when you pay your tithe, you have a connection of healing and deliverance, and you have a connection with spiritual commitment. You see, your tithe covers the spiritual aspect. You are now entering into covenant of peace. You are now entering into the covenant of the priesthood. You are now entering into the covenant of righteousness. Now you can't do that buying something here on the earth. See, that don't represent that. Now I'm here to bust your head open. Hit you in the head with a brick. Because some of you only believe that the Master YAHOSHUA only could save people that is in a building that called church.
Come on.
You don't see people that are not in the building being saved.
That's right.
Most of you only could view the kingdom of Yah inside of a building, but you can't see Yah saving outside of the building because you don't understand. His saving power is not just in the four walls. His saving power with people that is going to pay their tithes and their offering, whether or not they come to a building or not.
Yes,
let me tell you something. When you have people like, let me put it like that, the guy that is with Amazon, Jeff Bezos, he came up with an idea, and people paid into the idea. Now, you saying, well, you're going to make the pastor rich because you give your tithes and your offering. Well, Jeff Bezos, did you make him rich because you went and buy Amazon goods?
Come on, man.
But you bought it anyway because you needed it. Right? And you don't say, well, if I keep buying my goods from Amazon, I am sowing into a man and making him rich. But now when you come to give to a man that is going to help you have a connection with heaven, you are discarding that and you want more of a connection to earth than you want a connection to heaven.
Yes, sir.
Tell the truth.
You don't care about your descendants. Jeff Bezos care about his descendants.
Yes, sir.
He gonna leave his inheritance for his children.
Yes, sir.
He gonna pay his taxes. He gonna do whatever he need to do to keep his business going.
Yes, sir.
He came up with a business idea, and guess what? It's people that funded his business idea.
Yes,
that's why he is rich.
That's right.
Exactly.
Huh?
That's it.
Richard Branson came up with an idea. and people funded his idea. That's why he's rich. But you're not complaining about him.
Right, come on.
You ain't complaining about Mark Zuckerberg, who has a Facebook. You ain't complaining about Facebook because you're funding an idea that you think that you're using and you think is necessary to your well-being on earth. But what's about the idea about funding your spirit so you can leave this earth and go into the kingdom?
Yes, sir.
And your children.
Yes, sir.
And your children's children. So you don't understand how valuable this is. So Satan must come into this regard and discard tithes, offering, first fruits, financial aspect. He got to break it down, criticize it, and he got to tell you don't do it. Why shouldn't you do it? Why shouldn't you do it? When it's everything that the Creator has placed. But now the devil is going to tell you, well, if you do it, you're going to lose out. But then look at your life. Those of you that have not been doing it, have you been any better?
Right.
Have you been any richer?
Right.
Have you been any more blessed?
Right.
So now ask yourself the question. I'm not doing it. I'm complaining about it, and I'm not better off than where I should be. I don't have what I should have by complaining. I don't have what I should have by withholding. I don't have what I should have by murmuring and complaining against the word. Don't you understand that the devil has to attack the word because every single agent that have ever hit planet Earth had to deal with finances.
Right.
The government have to deal with finances. And let me show you something. How powerful that thing they call money is in the kingdom of Yah. Because in the kingdom of the devil, and let me put it up like that. Now, how do you make a kingdom powerful? How do you make a country powerful? Well, the United States of America, as is been known, has the most amount of gold probably on planet Earth that is stockpiled in one location. But is all of this gold came from this country? But they're still the most powerful nation. And the reason why that other nations respect them, because of the power of their gold.
Yes, sir.
Because of the power of their money.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the devil has to come in and tell you, don't worry about money or don't give it. Because if you give it, you're only trying to make the pastor rich. You're only trying to make the preacher rich. But you are funding everything else that the devil is telling you. You go to the movie theater. You go to the dance hall. You get yourself some kayak. How is that they call it? You get yourself some Patron. You get yourself some liquor, Guinness. You get yourself some Blackie Mile. You get yourself some cool cigarette. You get yourself a what you call them beautiful girls that you think, and men with the big chest. You buying all of that. You go to the clubs. You're funding everything else. But when coming for the kingdom, you have a problem. Why do you have a problem? Because the devil is making you believe you have a problem. Because the problem is not just you. The problem is that your generation is inside of you. The problem is that the generation is inside of your grandkids. The problem is that it's in your great-grandkids. The problem is, if I was to give what I'm supposed to give to fund the kingdom, then I will get rid of sickness and disease. Then I will get rid of poverty. The devil want to keep you in life. The devil want to keep you in sickness because the master says, he said, try me and see if I will not rebuke the devourers for your sake.
Yes, sir.
So again, the devil want to make it seem. Now remember, tithes and offering, folks, did not start with Creflo Dollar. Tithes and offering did not start with T.D. Jakes. Tithes and offering did not start with Oral Roberts or any of the other preachers. Tithes and offering starts with Abraham. Now, think about this. And Abraham was smart enough to know there is blood on my hands. I must make a covenant so my children don't have blood on their hands.
Yes, sir.
I must make a covenant of peace so my children can walk in freedom.
Yes, sir.
I must make a covenant of righteousness so my children can praise him.
Yes, sir.
I must make a covenant, a financial covenant. Not only that, but I'm going to give everything that I have, 1/10 of everything. Why? Because on the 10th day, the lamb is going to be taken. On the 10th day, I'm going to invest in the 10-day lamb. I'm going to invest in the coming of the Messiah. I am going to invest in a kingdom principle.
Yes, sir.
Well, let's check this out. We're going someplace. So hear this now. In verse 6, I believe. Verse 6, he said. 5? Okay, yes, 5. So in verse 5, he says, and truly, those who are of the sons of Levi, who receive the priesthood, have a command to receive tithes from the people, according to the Torah, that is from their brothers. So when we come to your brothers, and you start talking about you ain't got it, you better think again why you don't have it. It said, though they have come from the loins of Abraham. However, the one whose genealogy is not derived from them received tithes from them, from Abraham, and bless the one who held the promise. Now check this out. And it is beyond all dispute that the lesser has blessed by the better, or the greater. Now it is no question that Abraham, before he even gave his blessing, Melchizedek recognized that there is something in him that needs to make a connection with heaven. So he reached out to him and blessed him with bread and water. And then Abraham looked up, and Abraham looked around and said, you know, I must bless him. Abraham didn't know him like that, but he knew the spirit in him. Oh man, if you only understand what I'm about to share with you, you got to wait for this. You got to hear this, people. You got to hear this. Check this out. I want you to see this. Before we finish this up, I want you to go with me to, before we finish this up here, I'm not going to stay all day, but I want you to go to Genesis chapter 12. Remember, we're going to come back to Hebrews chapter 7 to wrap it up, but let's go to Genesis chapter 12. Okay? For all of you that have a problem, that believe that it's too much to give unto the master, it's just too much to give a tenth. But again, as I said, the tenth is covering the 10 tribes of Israel. Your brothers, your sisters, your ancestors that have been lost in the diaspora, the people that Abraham knew that later on they're going to need some financial backing. So let me put something in the kitty here for him. Let me put down something here. Let me make a deposit here for him.
Yes, sir.
Because some of you would not even make an investment for your own self, much as more make an investment for your children.
Right.
You wouldn't make an investment. The biggest investment that some of you would make is for your stomach.
Come on, man.
You would not make an investment for yourself, for your grandchildren, or your great-grandchildren, because you think it's too much. You would pay a light bill, and you would keep them in the house, but you would make an investment for them. So when you die, they have no house, because the government is going to take it, because they don't have a good job, they don't have a good education, because you have not laid up a spiritual investment for them. Your spiritual investment that you give through your tithe, your offering, your first fruits, is going to cover them educationally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. It's going to cover them on all aspects, because you are laying the foundation where? First in heaven, before you lay it here on earth. Yes, sir. Check this out. So I want you to see this because we're talking about Abraham meeting Melchizedek. Now, why did the authors decided to put this part of the story almost to the end of the book? Because people would say, well, that's an old covenant principle.
Right.
But they took it and put it in the British in the renewed covenant, which you call the New Testament. And they put it as far back, close to Revelation, almost to the end of the book, to let you know that there is no escaping that principle.
Right.
Because that principle covers the beginning to the end.
Come on.
And it did not start all the way at the first part of the beginning. It's a little part in there. So just a little part before the end. So it covers all the books. Let me show you something here. Now, in verse 14, chapter 14,
Chapter 12.
chapter 14 in Genesis. Sorry, chapter 14 in Genesis. Let's go to chapter 14. We're going to skip 12 and we're going to go to chapter 14. Sorry, chapter 14. I want you to see this, that, and I'm not going to read through all of it. It said, and it came to be in the days of Aramiel, sovereign of Shinar, and Akron, sovereign of Eleazar, Kadola, Omar, sovereign of Elam, and Tyal, sovereign of Goyim. It said all of these names, and all of these kings, a whole bunch of those kings, as many as a lot of them, a lot of the kings, they came together and they decided to fight a war. Now, in this war that they were fighting against all the other nations that was around, they just happened to make the mistake of taking one of Abraham's relatives. Now, some of you already know. You could mess with everything else. Don't touch a family. Now, don't touch a family and leave the family inheritance alone. Don't mess with the family inheritance. Don't mess with the family, period. Leave the family alone. So Abraham got word. Let's read it. So we're going to read that. All right? So we're going to start here. We're going to bypass all the kings that came to war. Just explain that to you. And let's go down to verse 10. Verse 10 says, and the valley of Siddim had many tar pits. So let's talk about this. In Siddim, there were many tar pits. That's over there in around the region of Iraq, Iran, all of those areas over there. He said there were many tar pits. Well, what are we reading in the scriptures? What is a tar pit? A tar pit is what you see on the ground that they use, what we know as asphalt, tar, asphalt. And in that pit, where the asphalt is being removed, is oil, petrol, gasoline, how you want to call it. Oil that is coming up of the ground, meaning they are resources of financial blessing. Abraham just captured many, many, many oil pits that he discovered with all of those kings that came together. And Abraham only had a few, I think as many as probably 5, other nations, or other little kingdoms that was there that joined with him to help him go to war against all of these other kings, which there were quite a few of them, because they took his nephew. They took his nephew, so Abraham is like, this is not going to happen. You're not going to touch one of mine. I'm going after you. Now, remember, these kingdoms of them, they have thousands and thousands of soldiers, trained soldiers. Abraham had with him housewives and some brothers. Abraham had with him some housewife some brothers, some servants, and they are going to war. What are they going to war with? They are not trained soldiers.
Come on.
They got some skillets.
Come on.
They got some broom. They got themselves some rakes and hoes. And I ain't talking about the other kind. They got themselves some machetes. They got themselves some bricks. And they going against trained soldiers. Just about 300 of them. With a few other camps that he met up with. And Abraham has the guts. Because you know what Abraham is thinking? If I die, then why am I doing this? I am going to do this for the children that is in my loins. I am going to do this because I have resources inside of me. I got kings inside of me.
Yes,
I got young men and women inside of me that need to continue this heavenly kingdom principle. I need some warriors. But I'm going to train them on the way to war because they don't know how to fight yet. So we're going to have to pray. And we're going to have to pull down some strongholds. Our weapon is not carnal,
Right.
but it's the pulling down. It's mighty and the pulling down of strongholds.
Yes, sir.
I must pray and fast. I must seek the King of Kings.
Yes, sir.
I must get some Malaks, some angels to go with me to fight this war. So check this out. So with this now, Abraham, it says in the valley of Siddim, had many trumpets, and the sovereign of Sodom and Amorah, it said, fled, and fell there. So those two, Sodom and Gomorrah, they fell. Well, check this out. It says, and Amorah flee and fell there. And the remainder fled to the mountains. It said, and they took all their goods of Sodom. Sodom, they took all the goods, and Amorah and Sodom and Gomorrah, they took all the goods. It says, and their food, and they went away. He said, and they took Lot, Abraham's brother, son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and left. And one who had escaped came and informed Abraham, the Gentile.
No. The Hebrew. Come on. Break it.
And one of them that was left fell and went to the Russian.
No. The Hebrew.
And Abraham, the Hebrew,
Yes, sir.
the brother,
Yes, sir.
they came to him.
Yes, sir.
So it never said Abraham the Christian, and I'm not putting Christians down. I'm just saying what the word said. It didn't say Abraham the Christian. It didn't say Abraham the Baptist. It didn't say Abraham the Methodist. It didn't say Abraham the Seventh-day Adventist. It said Abraham the Hebrew.
Yes, sir.
What is about Abraham this Hebrew? For he dwelt by the tamarind tree, which the tamarind was also called the tree of healing, which is called, help me somebody, what is the tamarind tree called? What is the tamarind called?
Balm of Gilead.
The balm of Gilead.
Mhm.
So, Abraham was by the tamarind tree of Moreh, and Amorah, the brother of Echol, and the brother of Ani, and they had a covenant with him. So there were just a few of them. And when Abraham heard that his brother was taken captive, which was Lot, he called him his brother here, it said he armed his 318 trained servants. What were they trained with? Pots and pans. Huh? Who were born in his household, and went in to pursue as far as Dan. It said, and he and his servant divided against them by night, and struck them and pursued them as far as Heshbon, which is on the left side of Damascus. So he brought back all the goods and also brought back his brother Lot and his goods, as well as the women and the people. So Abraham went into war, and Abraham with him brought some sisters who had some skillets, who had some broomstick, who had some, whatever they could find. And they went upside the head of all of them soldiers. They just went buck wild. And the master gave them the power to conquer those nations. Guess what? Don't tell me that a tent ain't gonna move a nation that is inside of you. Don't tell me tithes and offering ain't gonna conquer the enemy that coming after you. Don't tell me that a tithe ain't gonna stop the poverty that the devil trying to bring on you. Don't tell me that a tithe ain't gonna stop all of the war that is coming against you. The coronavirus, this virus and that virus. Don't tell me that being in covenant with the master ain't gonna protect you from all sickness and disease and all manner of war. Don't tell me that. If there is a man out there that want to challenge this word, tell them to come and talk to me. Tell them, let's discuss this right here, because I'm telling you, and you talking about we ain't got to pay no tithes and offering. What protected Abraham? What protected his generation? What protected the 10 tribes of Israel? What protected?
You better teach.
Oh man. Hey, covenant here, and you telling me that a tithe and offering is not powerful. The devil want to make you believe that it's not powerful, but he's going to fund his kingdom though.
No, enough.
Here's this down. Check this out. It says, verse 16, he says, so he brought back all the people, the goods and everything. And after this, returned from striking of the Kedolamer, it said, and the sovereign who were with him, it said, and the sovereign of Sodom came out to meet him at the valley of the Shorn. And he said, and this, the sovereign's valleys, and Melchizedek, sovereign of Salem, brought out bread and wine. Now he was the priest of the Most High. And he blessed Abraham. This is what we was talking about in Hebrew. And he blessed Abraham and said, blessed be Abram of the Most High, El, possessor of what? Bless Abraham of the Most High, who possessed heaven and hell, heaven and earth.
Yes.
So guess what? If he is now connected Abraham, you want to meet the celebrity? Melchizedek is saying right now, I am going to put you in touch with the greatest celebrity of all times.
Yes.
You want to meet a good preacher? You want to meet a prophet? You want to meet the high priest? I am the representation of high priest. I am going to connect you with the high priest. You want to walk in righteousness? I am the example of righteousness. You can follow after me.
Yes,
guess what? And Abraham, he had done this. So because Abraham done this, he now laid an investment.
Yes, sir.
Some of you laying investment in earthly goods. He said, but don't store up your wealth here on earth, for rust and moth is going to eat it.
Yes, sir.
He said, but make your connection in heaven. Store it up there.
Yes, sir.
So while you're here trying to store up all your money and refuse to give it to the master, Corona came and take you out. High blood pressure take you out. Not for dinner. Sugar diabetes come and take you out. Accident on the road come and take you out. Where is that money that you was refusing to give to the kingdom when you could have put that down for protection?
Yes, sir.
Exactly.
But you think it's too much. It's too much for the protection of your children. You think it's too much to give a tenth. It's too much. I can't live on 90%. I need the whole 100% to live. I don't need to go to heaven. I don't need to go to the New Jerusalem, because I'm going to go there anyway. But don't you understand? There is somebody standing in the way. And who is standing in the way? The high priest. the king. Whoa, you're going to meet him on the road. Let's finish this up. And then we're going to jump back to 7 and we're going to wrap this up real quick. All right? We're almost there. So hear what he says now. Remember when Abraham gave to Melchizedek, what he gave to Melchizedek? A tenth of all. What is a tenth of all? Abraham just conquered nations. And all the oil belongs to him. And all the gold that he got from that region belongs to him. All the garments that he got belongs to him. He brought back all the food. He brought back all the women. He brought back all the possession and people that they captured. And all the people that they captured, he gave to Melchizedek a tenth of everything. Some of you got 5 jobs, but you're going to tip the master $3 from one job. And you're going to believe that he's going to cover the other 4 jobs that you didn't even cover. You didn't even cover your children. You didn't cover your grandchildren. You didn't cover your health. But you're going to pay the doctor. And you got no problem doing it. You're going to pay the surgeon. You're going to pay the x-rays. You're going to pay your rent. Everything else but who has given it to you. And you're going to complain if you have to give it up. Let's wrap this up. Let's come closer. We're getting closer. So check this out here. We're in verse 23. It says, let's leave on 23 here for a minute. And let's jump over back to Hebrew. And we're going to wrap it up right here. Let's jump back right to Hebrew. Or you can read the rest on your own. But I want to finish this here. All right. So let's get back to Hebrew right here. And we were at what verse in Hebrew? I'm not gonna break down everything, but I'm just gonna read it through, and you're gonna see some of it. Huh?
We started about 7.
No, we are in verse 17, I believe.
17 in Hebrews.
In Hebrews, yeah.
Chapter 7, right?
Chapter 7.
Chapter 7, yeah. Okay. Now we in verse 10, I believe. Right around verse 10, verse 11. It says, and truly, then, if perfection were through the Levitical priesthood, for under it the people were given the Torah. Because Abraham has given a tenth unto Melchizedek, the Torah was given. So, refusing to give a tenth, how would you have gotten the Torah? What kind of Abraham has secured nations. Who are you securing? Abraham built a legacy. What are you building? I'm asking you the question.
I'm building one too.
So hear what he says here. It says, so he has gotten the Torah. It said, why was there still need for another priest to rise according to the order of Melchizedek, and not by the call according to the order of Aaron? Why was there a need for the priesthood to be under Melchizedek rather than Aaron?
You got to go back to 8.
Because
and 9. You missed those.
Okay, let's just connect 8 and 9.
Yes.
It says, and here it is men who died that received tithes, but there is some of whom it is witnessed that he lived. It said that one might say that through Abraham, even Levi received tithes and gave tithes. And then we go back to verse 10. We read 10. So everybody is a giver. Now, verse 12. Let's go down to verse 12. It said, for the priesthood being change of necessity, that they take place and change of charge of laws also. So look at this. Let's just look at this for a minute. I'm going to let you go through all of the other accounts. But let us stop here for a minute and let me talk to you for a minute. We're going to go through the rest of it. So let me ask you the question now. Those of you that gave a few dollars this morning, do you still believe that you need to do something better than what you done? Do you still convinced that your few dollars was enough to cover your children? I had a reason for me to ask you to do this. Do you believe that you gave a tenth? And if you're honest enough and believe that you gave a tenth of all that you have, are you covering, who are you covering? Are you covering truth because your children is in there? Are you covering your grandchildren because they're in what you just put in the basket? How much are you willing to give to cover your children? How much are you willing to give to cover your grandchildren or your great-great-grand? How much are you willing to give? Are you willing to give a tenth of all, or are you just willing to give $2 because that's what you think the value of their life worth? Is that what you think of your generation? But if you think different and you believe that there is more for you to do, then the basket is still there. And those of you that out there that believe that by not giving you better off, no sir, no ma'am. You have not yet understand what this is all about. Satan is about to stop a generation. He's been doing it for years. But he's going to build his kingdom and he's going to fund it. You've never seen a government operate. Like I was saying, the United States of America got millions and millions of gold bars, billions of it, that is stored up. What have you got stored up? But you want to be king. You want to be financially free, you say. But with your lack, that's why you end up with food stamps. With your lack, that's why you end up with sickness and disease. With your lack, because there is nothing to cover you, and there is nothing to cover your children. You are not safe. Spiritually, the devil is going to mess in that area because he knows you are not covered by the priesthood. Economically, you are not safe because you are in disobedience and the master can't vouch for you. Emotionally, you're going to spend that money and you're going to give it to somebody that wants to search your brain. What are your thoughts? What are your life? All your life is hidden in Messiah? Well, Messiah is a high priest. Messiah is the king of all kings. And he represents the first fruits.
Yes, sir.
And he gave his life so he could get back all mankind unto himself. So what are you trying to get back unto yourself? But you refuse to give because the devil said it's a bad thing and you joined with him. The devil said it's too much and you joined with him. And every time you grumble and you complain, you are locking your resources of your children and your grandchildren and your generation. You are breaking down your own kingdom and your own survival. So those of you that want to release, let me give you the number, because this here today, as you go back and check it out, it's going to free you up. Do something that you've never done before. What I'm about to tell you, do something that you've never done before. You are so used to giving $2, $3. I want you to break a curse of generations. I want you to take this Cash App. I want you to Cash App. Yes, you Cash App in the priest that gave you the word. You Cash App in the prophet that gave you the word. You had no problem going and buying from Amazon and getting the goods and making Jeff Bezos rich with his goods. Why you have a problem giving to the one that gave into your soul? You shouldn't. Because that's going to help you for the kingdom. I want you to go and get your whatever you're using, your credit card, your Cash App, I want you to break a curse that you have laid up. You haven't paid tithes and offering for generations. So you need to go and do, some of you need to go give 500, some of you need to give 1,000, some of you even need to give 5,000. Break that curse upon your life. You said, Pastor asking me to give 5,000? Yes. And I'm not, you think I'm scared to tell you that? No, the enemy wants to make people afraid that if the pastor says that you need to give 5,000, oh my goodness, Abraham gave a tenth of all he had. Of gold, of silver, of oil. Yes, you think 5,000 is too much to give? No. To protect your children and your grandchildren, your inheritance, the curse that is upon your life. You've been in a curse for so long, you think that's the way to live. You've been in poverty for so long, you think by eating a piece of bread and drinking some Kool-Aid, that is okay? And sleeping on, no, man, no, you are royalty. When have you act as a king, as a priest, as a queen? When last have you take a vacation where you didn't have to worry about it? When last have you gone to the car lot and just pay for your car? You know why? Because you ain't got covenant. And the money can't flow into your life. You need to go and you need to cash out 500, 1,000, some of you maybe even 10,000. You say, wow, this preacher is something else. I'm not pulling any punches. Don't get tired getting this word for free. When last have you blessed me, the priest, the prophet that been prophesying in your life, helping you and your children? When last have you done this? Come on, man. So why is it too hard for me to ask you to go and give some monetary gains that you get in order to operate the kingdom? But you want me to study and come out here every week so you can get that food. Right. Then you need to go and you need to break the curse so the master could bless you. Here is the Cash App. Prophetess Tina is going to type it in. She's going to type it in. So I want you to go and I want you to do it right now. Don't wait for the devil to speak to you and say you can't do it. You slap the devil where it hurts and let him know. I have done it for so many times. I took hundreds of dollars and buy a lotto ticket and never won anything. I spent thousands of dollars buying scratch-out tickets and never won anything. But today, I am going to lay a foundation for my children, for my grandchildren, for my great-great-grandchildren, for my generation. I'm going to break the curse today for my health. If you die right now, I'm not trying to scare you, I'm just telling you the facts. If you die right now, you can't take none of that with you. Are you going to go to heaven with that kind of money? No. Who are you going to leave it to? The government going to take it if you ain't got nobody as a beneficiary on your life insurance or your 401k. Who is it going to go to? Are you saving up all that money? Oh, because I'm going to live in abundance. How? When the master is going to blow on it and you're going to lose it anyway? Why not invest it with him and see what he's going to do for you? So again, I'm waiting for you to cash at me. Let me tell you again. You need to go to the website. You need to go here to the chat room. And again, the phone number is area code 813-464-1021. And the Cash App, if you're not certain about it, just go look it up. Hit the devil where it hurts today. Tell him, say, listen, I am going to do this because I'm going to lay a mark and a foundation right now. Have you been blessed today? Hallelujah. Have you been blessed today? Hallelujah. Have you been blessed today?
Hallelujah.
I hope this will erase all of you that believe that we should not give tithes and offering. When you get to heaven, or the gates of heaven, and you can't get in, and the master said, you know, you remember that black little preacher named Pastor Reggie, or Prophet Reggie that was preaching to you, but you refused to bless the man of Yah, and he was fighting for your soul, and you wouldn't do it. Depart from me, you workers of iniquity. Hallelujah. Come on, stand up. We're going to still, just for a few more minutes, we're going to keep the blessing going for a few minutes, because right now, you are in a good time right now. This is a good spirit and a good soil right now. So you stay in that frame of mind of giving, because what a man sow, that shall he reap. I want you to stay in the mindset of giving. Those of you that are listening to the state, no matter when you're listening to it, if it bless your soul, then you need to just bless the man of Yah. You need to just bless this ministry, because this ministry is going to help you and your family. It's going to help nation. It's going to help people. Tell them the prophet said it. Tell them the prophet come to pull down the lies and the deceptions. Oh, the devil even get people that look like Hebrews, that say we Hebrews and you're not supposed to give. Lying devil, and those that stand with you are liars too, and the pit of hell is for you. Change your ways. Stop letting the devil trick you. Stay right there in the midst of worship. Worship is part of your finances.
Yes, sir.
Worship is not a curse word when you have to give. It's part of your financial obligation unto the master. Worship him in all your goods, he says, and in all your earnings. Worship him with it. Worship him with your giving today. Feel free and liberated. Like Shaul said, he said, give generously. Feel free today. Break the curse on your generation. Break it right now.
Yes, sir.
Right now. Go and give $1,000. Go and give $10,000. And those of you that can give $500 and $100, do it right now and break that curse in your life. I don't care what you think, because I got the word to back me. What you got to say, I'm telling you, don't really matter. I'm putting that down, on public, media. So you're going to have to go back and look at it. And you can scrutinize me all you want. It's okay. I'm fine with that. But I'm telling you, if you don't do it, I don't want to tell you what's going to happen if you don't do it. But I'm going to tell you what's going to happen if you do it. You're going to break the curse upon your life. You're going to break the curse upon your children's life. Somebody lift your hands in the air and say, praise him.
Praise him.
Praise him.
Praise him.
Come on, somebody, they thinking, oh man, the lie from the devil, oh, that's what all preachers do, and they're going to get you emotional. That's the devil telling you that. When are you going to stop listening to him?
Right.
When? Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Some of you that agree with me, let me see some thumbs up on that. Let me see you giving me, some high five right there. Let me see that you're doing what the word says. Don't be afraid, because the devil will make you afraid. You'll be afraid. Oh, how I'm going to pay this, how I'm going to do this. No, you ain't got to be afraid. The master will take care of you. He take care of the lilies. He take care of the birds.
Yes, sir.
He going to take care of you.
Absolutely.
He going to take care of you. Hallelujah. Let me pray for you. Baruch Hashem Yakwa. Ivareka Yakwa Faris Mareka. Yaye Yakwa Punavaleka. Vikaneka. Isa Yakwa for Ishmaka. Shalom Aleichem. Blessings unto you. May the Master YAHOSHUA HaMashiach. Bubakashah. May he shine his face upon you. May he give you his shalom. May he cause you to rise up and to be kings and queens. May he raise you up that your children will pass the examination that they have set up to cause them to fail. May the master bless them that they will outdo the children in their class. May he keep them as they're trying to put disease and sickness upon them. May the master protect them. May he protect you from harm and danger. May he keep you. And for the seeds that are in your loins, your generation to come. May he bless your woman. That those of you that want to conceive a child, but always have miscarriage, may the master protect your woman. And the brothers that could not give a healthy seed, may the Master touch you, that you will provide a seed to your wife. May the Master provide to you that couldn't provide for your house and your household. May He give you all the resources that you need, all that you need, in order to take care of your affairs. May your bills never go under, that you can take care of it above and beyond that which you could able to do. I pray and I rebuke the disease and the sickness in your life. I rebuke the financial burden that is upon you. I rebuke all of the aches and pains in your body. I rebuke it right now in the Master YAHOSHUA's name. I rebuke lack in your life right now. Right now I rebuke rebellious children in your life.
Yes.
I rebuke that in the Master YAHOSHUA's name. And I speak to you right now. I see somebody that have a pain in their leg. And I'm speaking to that leg right now. Somebody have a problem with their foot swelling. But I pray in the Master YAHOSHUA's name that the swelling will go down. I pray any single time that you hear this message, that whatever sickness or disease that you have, I want you to stretch your hands and put it with my hands. And I pray that we have a connection. I pray that we have a connection. I pray that I reach your heart today. I pray that I touch your generation from whence it came from. And I bless you today. I bless you bountifully as the Master release it from heaven. I release it upon earth for you. I release it upon earth for you today. Those of you that have gifts and talents inside of you, I ask the Master to reveal unto you bountifully and give you the resources that you need to do what you need to do. Those of you that have songs inside of you need to sing it. Those of you that have talents inside of you need to use it. And today I release it in the Master YAHOSHUA. Give him a praise. Give him a praise. Those of you that are viewing, give him a praise.
Hallelujah. Praise your name.
Hallelujah.
Thank you, Father God. Bless your name.
I send a word out to the millionaires and the billionaires. I know some of you don't go inside of a temple. But those of you that have been doing your due diligence and you've been living righteously, you I'm speaking to. You've been given to every good work that you could give to. But I'm appealing to you that you give to the kingdom work also. Don't forget the house of Yah. Don't forget to give into the kingdom of Yah. I know you've been good philanthropists, but don't forget the work of the kingdom of Yah. Because he's not just looking for the people that is inside of the four walls, but he's looking for you too. He's looking for you and your children. He got you covered. He's seen what you've been doing. Don't stop doing what you're doing, but do a little more for him that you've been doing for the world. May the Master continue to bless you, and I bless you today. The rich, the millionaires, the billionaires. You know, sometimes people leave you out, and sometimes people say all manner of evil things about you. But today I want to bless you. I want to bless you. I want to bless those that have been given to humanity. I want to bless those that have been given to human rights. I want to bless those that have been given. I want to bless those that have been working on the behalf of the health and the well-being of human beings. I want to bless you today because I appreciate you. I appreciate what you've been doing. I appreciate the nurses and the doctors and the policemen. I appreciate you. I appreciate those that have been giving their lives on the battlefield. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate those that have been sacrificing for the world and sacrificing their own life. I appreciate you. Others may not appreciate you, but I appreciate you. You turn to the Master YAHOSHUA and give him all the praise. But I pray that the Master will keep you in safety, that you do what you do. Those that fly helicopters into bad terrains, those that go into places that other people wouldn't go, I pray for you. Those that put their life on the line, I pray for you, because we got family members that are in the military. Although we criticize it, we criticize the police, and there are family members in the police force. You got family members in all walks of life. I pray for you. I pray blessing upon you. May the Master Yahushua bless you. Love you today in Yahushua's name. Shalom to all of you. Feel the love from this pastor. Feel the love from this man of Yah today. Young brothers, you ain't got to do it alone. If you need to talk to somebody, talk. Come on. You ain't got to do it alone. Young sisters, you got mothers here and righteous women. You ain't got to do it alone. We can help you through the Master Yahushua. Call upon this ministry so we can do the best we can for you. We love you. Shalom.